Yu-jin notices him on a Wednesday morning, and not for the first time. Kang Min-woo stands at the coffee station on the 14th floor, staring at the espresso machine like it's asked him a philosophical question. His tie is perfectly knotted. She's never seen it otherwise, but there's a coffee stain on his shirt cuff that he hasn't noticed. His hair sticks up slightly in the back, despite what was clearly an attempt to smooth it down with water. He's been standing there for at least 30 seconds, paper cup in hand, not moving. Yu-jin watches from her desk, chin propped on her palm. Around her, the office hums with its usual morning chaos. Keyboards clicking, phones ringing, the rumble of conversation. The strategy division occupies half of the 14th floor, an open-plan space with glass-walled meeting rooms along the perimeter. No privacy. Everyone can see everything, which is why Yu-jin has perfected the art of observing while appearing to work. Min-woo finally presses a button. The machine gurgles to life, loud and aggressive. He startles slightly, even though he's the one who activated it. He's doing it again. Doon murmurs from the desk beside her. Yu-jin doesn't look away from her screen. Doing what? The standing and staring thing. I timed him yesterday. 2 minutes and 17 seconds in front of the printer. Just looking at it. Maybe he's thinking. About what? The existential nature of coffee. Yu-jin allows herself a small smile. He's our team leader. Maybe he has a lot on his mind. He's been weird all week, Doon says. She's supposed to be working on a market analysis report, but her attention is clearly elsewhere. Weirder than usual, I mean. Yesterday, he asked Sung-ho about hair products. Hair products. Min-woo Sunbae, who probably uses the same bottle for shampoo, conditioner, and body wash. This catches Yu-jin's attention. She glances over at Doon, who's grinning like she's uncovered classified intelligence. Hair products. And last week I saw him reading a magazine on the subway. One of those men's fashion things. Held it like it might explode. Yu-jin turns back to her screen, but she's listening now. Min-woo has returned to his desk, coffee in hand, and is arranging his workspace with the same precision he brings to everything. Pens aligned, notepad squared with the edge of his desk. Everything in its place. She's worked with him for 8 months. He'd been promoted to team leader just before she joined the strategy division, and the rumor mill had been unkind about it. Too young, too awkward, only good with numbers. But Yu-jin had learned quickly that the rumors were only half right. He was good with numbers, brilliant with them, actually, could see patterns in data that others missed, could build strategies that were both creative and mathematically sound. The awkward part, though, that was accurate. She'd watched him present to clients, smooth and confident when discussing projections and market analysis. Watched that same confidence evaporate the moment the conversation turned social. At the last company dinner, he'd somehow ended up discussing the optimal temperature for fermenting kimchi with Director Beck's wife for 20 minutes. Both of them clearly desperate for the conversation to end, but neither knowing how to escape. Yu-jin had eventually rescued them, steering the discussion to safer territory. Min-woo had looked at her afterward with something like gratitude mixed with mortification. Now she watches him open his laptop, adjust his glasses, and pull up what looks like a spreadsheet. His expression is focused, intent. Whatever he's working on, it's not a client project. Those live in the shared drive, and she knows all of them by sight. Her phone buzzes. A text from Doon, even though she's sitting 2 feet away. Wanna bet he's planning something? He has that look. Yu-jin doesn't respond, but Doon's not wrong. There's something different about Min-woo this week. An energy, like he's building up to something. The morning passes. Yu-jin sits through a client call, reviews a draft report that needs significant work, and responds to approximately 700 emails. Okay, 23, but it feels like 700. Lunchtime arrives like a reprieve. The office empties in waves, some heading to the cafeteria downstairs, others to the constellation of restaurants that surround their building in Gangnam. Yu-jin usually goes with Doon, but her friend has been summoned to a meeting with the marketing team. Bring me back something, Doon says, slinging her bag over her shoulder. Something with noodles, or just anything. I'm too hungry to have preferences. Yu-jin takes the elevator down alone. The lobby is all marble and glass, aggressively modern. Outside, the January cold hits like a slap. She pulls her coat tighter, her breath fogging in the air. The kimbap place 2 blocks away is her destination. Cheap, Fast, reliably good. But as she walks, her mind drifts back to Min-woo, to the way he'd been acting, the fashion magazine, the hair products. It reminds her of something, this sudden interest in appearance, this focused attention on self-improvement. She's halfway to the restaurant when it clicks. He's trying to impress someone. The thought is oddly disorienting. Min-woo has always seemed so resolutely uninterested in dating, in the whole performance of it. While other people at the office play their careful games, the flirting, the after-work drinks that might mean something, the elaborate dance of who likes whom, Min-woo has remained stubbornly oblivious to all of it. But people change. People decide they want different things. Yu-jin orders at the counter, tuna kimbap for herself, beef for Doon, and waits while the ajumma behind the counter assembles the rolls with practiced efficiency. The restaurant is small, cramped, with condensation fogging the windows. It smells like sesame oil and rice in comfort. She pays, takes the plastic bag, and heads back into the cold. That's when she sees him. Min-woo is standing outside a bookstore across the street. Not just standing, staring through the window with that same intense focus he brings to everything. Yu-jin slows her pace, curious. The bookstore is one of those chain places, big and bright and full of bestsellers. As she watches, he pushes through the door, disappears inside. She should keep walking, should head back to the office, deliver Doon's lunch, get back to work. It's none of her business what Min-woo does on his lunch break. But curiosity is a persistent thing. Yu-jin crosses the street, careful of the traffic that never really stops in Seoul. The bookstore is warm after the cold, and she has to blink to adjust to the bright lights. It's busy, office workers on lunch break, students, an elderly man reading a newspaper in the cafe section. She spots Min-woo in the self-help aisle. He's standing in front of a shelf, head tilted to read the spines. His expression is serious, like he's studying for an exam. Yu-jin moves closer, keeping a display of new releases between them, watching through the gaps. His hand reaches out, hesitates, then pulls a book from the shelf. The cover is bright pink. Even from this distance, she can read the title, The Art of Conversation, How to Talk to Anyone. Something in her chest does a strange flip, half amusement, half something gentler. Min-woo flips through the pages, his brow furrowed. Then he tucks it under his arm and moves further down the aisle. Pulls another book. This one's cover shows a couple silhouetted against the sunset. Modern Dating, a Practical Guide. Yu-jin watches as he collects two more books, each one a variation on the same theme. How to date, how to flirt, how to be confident. He cradles them against his chest like they're classified documents, glancing around to make sure no one he knows is watching. She should feel intrusive, witnessing this, should leave him to his privacy. But what she actually feels is a wave of unexpected tenderness, because she understands, suddenly, what this is. Not just wanting to impress someone. This is someone trying to learn a language everyone else seems to speak fluently. Someone brave enough to admit they don't know, and determined enough to try. Min-woo heads to the register. The clerk, a bored-looking college student, doesn't even glance at the titles as she scans them. Min-woo pays in cash, takes the bag, and walks out quickly, like he's escaping a crime scene. Yu-jin waits 30 seconds, then follows. Outside, the cold feels sharper. She can see Min-woo half a block ahead, the bookstore bag clutched in one hand, walking fast. His shoulders are slightly hunched, whether from cold or embarrassment, she can't tell. She thinks about the spreadsheet she'd glimpsed on his screen, about the hair products and the fashion magazine, about a man who approaches everything in his life with methodical precision, now trying to systematize something as chaotic as romance. It's endearing. It's also probably doomed to fail. Those books won't help him. Yu-jin knows this with the certainty of experience. She's read similar ones, years ago, when she was trying to figure out why her relationships kept ending. The books had been useless, full of rules and techniques that dissolved the moment real human emotion entered the equation. What Min-woo needs isn't a book. What he needs is practice. Real practice with a real person. Someone patient enough to help him, knowledgeable enough to guide him, and detached enough to not let it get complicated. The thought forms before she can stop it. I could help him. It's absurd. Inappropriate, probably. She's his junior colleague. There are workplace boundaries, unspoken rules about these things. But she watches him disappear around the corner, carrying his bag of self-help books like a secret, and something in her aches with recognition. She knows what it's like to feel like you're on the outside of something everyone else understands, to be lonely in a city of millions. And she knows, with a certainty that surprises her, that she could teach him, not from a book, but from lived experience. The real lessons, the ones that actually matter. The plastic bag in her hand crinkles as she adjusts her grip. Dune's lunch is getting cold. Yu-jin turns and walks back toward the office, her mind already working through the logistics. How she might approach this, what she might say, whether this is the worst idea she's ever had or possibly, somehow, exactly what both of them need. She doesn't have answers yet, but she's thinking about it. And for Yu-jin, thinking about something is usually the first step toward making it happen.